Canada has now officially crossed the threshold through the door of insanity, and it is officially going out of its way to do so. And where, might you ask, is the vortex beyond the threshold? Well, I think it's become quite obvious to many Canadians, and it's not good. And this piece of filth right here has a lot to do with it on account of a recent exchange that it had with Michelle Rempel with regard to our Canadian Citizenship Guide and the subject matter of female genital mutilation. Many have seen the exchange and realize that it represents an entirely new low for Canada. And as usual, I notice our freak show media had nothing or little to say about it, and at this juncture, I'm not sure who's the more despicable camp, the filthy garbage that sit in power or the filthy garbage that falsely reports about it. And for the record, words like garbage and filth are the only words that can be slated to classify the scum of our day, because vile, contemptible pieces of filth like this can't even be named as a maggot or anything like that, because even maggots serve a natural organic purpose on this planet. But this subhuman slime that defies organics is nothing but a degenerate parasitical miscarriage of some sort, an absolute freak of nature. And the freak of nature is in control of our immigration and citizenship stipulations. Imagine that. It's another telling evaluation of Trudeau's overall scheme of things. Now, it's worthy to note here that at the beginning of this committee meeting, this arrogant piece of filth said he would answer all questions, in detail.
Following these remarks, we will be happy to answer in detail any questions from committee members.
In detail, any questions from committee members.
So, in light of that, the manner and level of his arrogance and his sneaky little tactics of diversionary time-killing is truly a display of titanic disrespect. It would be one thing if it was a discussion pertaining to whether or not you'll waste $212,000 to design the cover of the Citizenship Guide, but it's not, you see. We're talking about the savage, barbaric behavior of cutting the clitoris off of little girls, or to paraphrase Michelle, removing their sexual agency.
Ms. Rempel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's my understanding that the government has recently gone to tender for a vendor who will write Canada's citizenship test. And it's also my understanding that the government has decided to revise Canada's Citizenship Guide. Ostensibly, there will be expenditures related to this decision, and my questions relate to the content of both instruments, which has relevancy related to the expenditures included therein. Will the minister reverse his decision to remove female genital mutilation from Canada's Citizenship Guide?
I haven't done that, and the assertion that, first of all, the Citizenship Guide hasn't been written. We're still in the consultation stage to put together.
So the draft.
Can I finish my answer?
I don't have enough time. So the draft
I'm
guide.
trying to finish. Mr. Chair, can I finish? I've been asked a question. I'd like to finish my answer.
He doesn't want to finish his answer. He wants to act like a troublesome little child that thinks he's playing impish little games while trying to waste time, while being intimidating and tormenting while ignoring the question. You're not fooling anyone, you festering sack of excrement.
Point of order. I was asking a yes or no question.
I've been asked a question. I'd like to finish my answer, please.
Point of order.
If that's possible.
On decorum, you must appreciate I have very limited amount of time to question the minister. I'm looking for a yes or no answer, not a talk the clock answer. So I will be brief and brief.
The honourable member is suggesting that I've removed something from a product that hasn't been completed. So I'd like to set the record straight about that.
It is a convention of this committee that it is the member's time.
Okay.
So I'm afraid I do have to let her ask the question. And
thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes or no, Minister, the document that was released or leaked earlier this year, Canada's Citizenship Guide, was that not
the Citizenship Guide has not been written.
So will female genital
mutilation... It has not been written.
Will female genital mutilation...
The Citizenship Guide has not been written yet.
Will female genital mutilation be listed as an intolerable practice in Canada?
The Citizenship Guide has not been written yet. We're consulting
Minister, this is a yes or no question.
It's not.
He just said it's not. Well, I'm afraid it is. Yes, it is. It is decidedly a yes or no question. Actually, it isn't even that, because there should only be one answer. But firstly here, ignoramus assholes like you keep forgetting the reality that arrogant and dismissive little thank you that you just gave to her was by extension directed at the public, me. And I don't like it, and I don't like you. Secondly, just the fact that you think the question can be turned into some twisted non sequitur that a 5-year-old could see through truly shows the level of your contempt and personal character. And lastly, but above all, there is no necessary discussion over something like this because it's not up for discussion, you wretched piece of filth. You're such a pungent stain on our country. In fact, a virus like you should really get the fuck out of our country. Never mind be sitting in that chair, collecting $254,600 a year and making decisions about the future prospects of our country. You say you're consulting with stakeholders, and later you say you're consulting with Canadians and experts. Here's my expert consultation, you piece of filth. Fuck you. I'm sick of subhuman slimewad sewage the likes of you telling us what Canada needs and what Canada ought to look like. I know what your cultural enrichment leads to, you piece of fucking garbage.
Female genital mutilation affects over 200 million women worldwide. We're talking about a woman's clitoris being cut off to remove her sexual agency. This is a practice that happens because it's shrouded in silence, and the reason why it's in Canada's citizenship guide right now is to arm women with rights, understanding of their rights. Will you commit today to ensuring that this practice is listed as a intolerable practice and a crime as it currently is right now?
I will commit to continuing to consult, which your party and your government didn't do when they were drafting their own
I have
citizenship
consulted
guide.
on this, Minister. There are over 17,000 Canadians who have signed a petition
And I am one of
to
them.
keep this in here. I can't imagine any group that would suggest that you should take it out. So I'm
Citizenship
wondering.
guide has not been written, and I'm consulting with stakeholders.
Well, I'm asking you today.
Well, I've given
I'm
you an
asking you
answer.
today if
Thank
you. This is ultimately this is your decision. This affects millions of women worldwide. We know that the Canadian Border Services Agency.
In our government, we make decisions based
Mr.
on
Chair, I have the
consultations.
floor.
Thank you very much.
I have the floor. Mr. Chair,
You asked me a question, I'm answering.
Minister,
Unless you're making a speech.
A speech? Wow, you're a real piece of work. I'll give you a speech and a dose of reality, dirtbag. You haven't even been in this country for 25 years, and I'll tell you what, the last 25 years haven't really been a favourable representation or genuine reflection of what things were like when I grew up, and I was born and grew up in Canada. You have no fucking clue, you fucking mongrel. You mongoloid mongrel piece of filth. Man, it can't be said enough. Fucking barbarians you are. Anyone with a shred of decency wouldn't even hesitate to be on the record assuring everyone that there are no margins of tolerance to this sort of thing. But not you. Nope. No, sir. Filth the likes of you prefer to think otherwise. Not only that, you do it with a smug indifference. It's really fucking revolting. And you're also gloating inside, so you don't want to offend your filthy brethren that are watching you, some from distant countries in their mud shacks, rejoicing with cheers to see their brother in arms that has managed to lie and slither his way into a promising position of influence to help mushroom the filthy Islamic cause. You're just like that other piece of filth, Sadiq Khan. The humans of this country don't want filth like you breeding here and teaching your offspring the same decrepit and torturous ideologies that you have lodged into your empty cavern of a skull. Understand, you self-induced Frankensteinian misfit?
Minister, this is a very simple yes or no decision. Will you commit to including female genital mutilation?
I will commit
in
to
Canada's
continue to
citizenship?
consult stakeholders in a way that you did not do when you were in government.
Which stakeholder are you consulting that is?
We're consulting
which suggests-
experts who are advising us
have there
on,
been any
on
experts
making
that have
sure that the
suggested?
citizenship guide is
Have there
diverse,
been any
that it
experts that have
includes women,
suggested?
that it includes
Mr. Chair, point of order.
LGBTQ2
Decorum.
communities who have
Decorum,
not.
Mr. Chair.
This piece of shit just oozes contempt towards the notion of a woman questioning his degrading viewpoints on women. So where are all the pussy hats? Did they not hear this? Did someone snip off their keen ears? Where's all the outrage? This government is so loony in so many ways, yet the media and public opinion still tow it along like it's a parade float of utopia. I marvel at both the madness and ignorance of this. So let me tell you something, you creep. Millennia from now, when the residual remnants of burlap-clad humans are digging through the rubble, and perhaps have the wherewithal to read or understand or even listen to or watch any of the historical records of these times of ours right now, they will discover, without any taxing thought, that filth like you were among the most despicable on earth. With Trudeau even raising the bar on that gruesome classification because he's a facilitator and creator of the likes of you, when in reality he should be your adversary. It's all so absolutely insulting to anyone that thinks with a rational mind. I can just picture the look on the faces of the archaeological diggers millennia from now, puzzled about the smartphone thing, and with the many vessels of Starbucks, wonder if perhaps they were just vile intruders from another galaxy.
Point of order on decorum.
If
for
I
the
could just
witness.
have the floor for a moment. I'm just being reminded that members should display appropriate courtesy and fairness at all times when questioning witnesses, and that witnesses are to answer questions. However, if they feel the answer has been given, that is also fair. So I would ask the member to show appropriate courtesy and fairness, and I believe the witness has answered the question.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, Minister, you've suggested that you're consulting with people on this particular issue.
Yes.
Which groups have suggested that this should be removed from the Citizenship Guide?
No one has suggested that.
So will you commit today to including female genital mutilation in Canada's Citizenship
I'll
Guide?
commit to continuing to consult Canadians on the Citizenship Guide.
So we know from reports this summer that practitioners of female genital mutilation are coming to Canada. The CBSA has been put on alert for this. And we've also had a report saying that Canada is woefully underprepared to deal with the problem of Canadian girls being brought abroad to have the practice done to them. I don't understand why you won't commit today to shedding light on this practice as it has been done within Canada's Citizenship Guide. So I will ask you again, can you please provide rationale as to why this would be removed from Canada's Citizenship Guide?
There hasn't been any removing of anything. There's no Citizenship Guide that has been written. So your assertion that we've removed something from something that hasn't been completed is completely false. So I can't go
So I
with
will
that
go back
logic.
to my previous question. Earlier this year, in June, a leaked copy of the draft Citizenship Guide was provided to the media. And in that draft, female genital mutilation had been removed from the guide. Additionally, your predecessor had suggested that this would be removed from Canada's Citizenship Guide. So 2 questions. Was this draft guide not produced by your department?
We have one Citizenship Guide now. It's the one that exists. The Citizenship Guide that we're planning to put together hasn't been completed. We're drafting it, and we're in the consultation stage.
So just to clarify, the draft guide that was released to the media, was that produced by your department?
We are consulting Canadians on producing a new Citizenship Guide.
So will female
the Citizenship
genital...
Guide that exists now is the one that is...
Will female
that is in
genital
place.
mutilation be included in the new version of the Citizenship Guide?
I can't comment on a product that hasn't been completed. We are in the consultation phase.
What is your personal
We're
view? What is your personal view? Do you personally
I'm just going
believe...
to remind the member that we're now moving outside the scope, I believe, of estimates. We're into a
Get 'em
policy
out.
discussion.
Yeah,
Point
get
of
him out.
order, Mr. Chair.
Get him the hell out of here. Get him out of here. Get out. Get him out of here.